for coming out to this press conference. Very short notice. Just something I want to make sure we had a chance to at least echo into the community other than just a press release. I think most of you at this point understand why we are here, and I'm just going to update the community in a general scheme of over the last 5 years.
What's up, guys? True Crime King back. Hope everybody's doing okay today. All right, so I was watching some YouTube, doing some research, and then I just came across this video, and it's the first time I've seen this sheriff. It's another sheriff from Florida. Usually, the only sheriff I see on YouTube is Grady Judd, but I'm not gonna lie, this guy, this sheriff, this man is a true, you can't get, him and Grady Judd are just top-notch sheriffs, and in my opinion, every sheriff in the country should be looking at people just like this guy. His name is Gregory Tony. He holds everybody accountable. Everybody. So what happened in this situation? And real quick, if you guys, those of you who are familiar with my channel know that I like to expose, whenever I can, child predators especially. I think they are the biggest cowards and the most despicable form of human being on this planet. So what we have here is a sheriff's deputy that was with Broward County for 6 years. He went on a call, a domestic violence call, and then while he was on that call, he started flirting with and engaging in text messages with a 17-year-old girl, the daughter of the two parents that he got called out for the domestic call for. This guy's name is Jemiah Thomas. He allegedly, because I haven't seen him, but you'll hear in a second that the sheriff tells us, he sent pictures while he was on duty of his penis to this 17-year-old girl. And let me remind you, this sheriff's deputy, ex-sheriff's deputy, was 35 years old. Is 35 years old. And you can see the picture of him on my thumbnail. But it's just despicable. And it just makes it worse. You can't get much worse, but it makes it worse that he was a trusted law enforcement agent, right? It's just despicable. And as soon as I saw that video, I knew I was gonna react to it. So here we go.
Continue to echo this message across this entire county that this office will be transparent and we're going to be accountable. Meaning, when we know, this community is going to know, and the repercussions behind us knowing is someone is going to be held accountable to their degree as to whether they're disciplined from a suspension all the way up through termination. Just a few weeks ago, I was standing amongst you all talking about an internal investigation that we launched related to this PPP scandal. Standing here with the U.S. Attorney General, 17 members were indicted. We put the handcuffs on them and turned them over to our federal partners. And once again, we're in a position where we had to arrest one of our own. Not something that we're proud of, but most certainly something that I'm satisfied in the sense that our Public Corruptions Unit, our Office of Inspector General, and in this particular case, our Internet Crimes Against Children, are doing precisely what we need them to do in terms of holding criminals accountable. Let's skip past the fact that we're talking about a deputy. A criminal is a criminal. I don't care if you're wearing a star on your chest or if you're a civilian. We're going to treat you all the same.
And real quick, I got to stop there. That is just one of the reasons why this man is great. A criminal is a criminal. whether you're law enforcement, a civilian, no matter the race, nothing. If you're a criminal, you're a criminal. If you break the law, you're going to face the consequences, no matter who you are. Rich, poor, doesn't matter. And this sheriff, Gregory Tony, is just great, in my opinion.
Which means we're going to hold you accountable to the laws of this state. Unfortunately, earlier today, we had to arrest one of our deputies who's been here, employed for about 6 years now, 35-year-old Deputy Thomas. He was involved in an incident where he was responding to a domestic violence call, and ideally, an officer goes out to a site location with the intent to protect and serve the community, or perhaps provide resources and mitigate this particular threat that may be taking place in the household. In this particular case, you got a deputy out here who did nothing more than take advantage of his powers, abuse his authorities, and solicit sexual solicitation of a minor. Now, you all have the arrest warrant, or will have access to it and have a chance to read through it, but what I can surmise from what I've been able to read and talking to our investigators, this here is one of the most grotesque and deliberate attempts to really abuse a minor in our community. Many of you heard me say this before, and I'll continue to echo and say it again. Our most viable asset in this community are our kids. And if we can't protect them, we don't have a future not only in Broward County, but perhaps impacting the whole future of this country. And so to read this affidavit, this arrest warrant, and talk to our investigators and see a lot of deliberate efforts to be nothing more than a sexual predator is an insult to this agency, it's an insult to this profession, and it's an insult to everybody who ever served in this capacity. So,
and real quick, I mean, he's right. I mean, that makes all cops, it gives all cops a bad name when a cop does something like this, right? And that's why I applaud him for taking, decisive, immediate action. I mean, think of whatever profession you're in, right? If it was, especially if it's in the public eye, right? I mean, if somebody did something like this, it gives everybody in that profession, it's just a bad name. It just does, unless you take action and hold that person accountable. And real quick, I like how this guy is just so transparent. He doesn't hide anything. He tells everything, and it lets his constituents know everything. Great.
So, despite the hardships of having to arrest one of our own, I'm glad that we were able to do it and prevent a child from being abused sexually or victimized in any other form or capacity. Sticking with our standard practices and protocols, because he is a sworn law enforcement officer, afforded certain rights. He will be set aside on suspension, administrative leave without pay, pending the investigation, both internally and the criminal allegations that he's going to have to face. I'm going to pause and allow you to ask me some questions on this, because there's a lot of ways I can go, and I think this is better driven if you give me precise questions that you may have.
Sure. So the incident that you just referenced while he was on a call, so that occurred while he was on duty?
Correct.
So are there other incidences, or is this, I'm confused about the internet part of it, if this happened?
Sure, so I can elaborate on that. From an investigative standpoint, once we got information and a tip that this deputy was involved in potential soliciting a minor and things of that nature, one of the things we wanted to do was to confirm those allegations and have our own internal investigation that would give us an opportunity to get facts. Facts is the most important part of this thing. In order to do that, our investigators elected to work with our Internet Crimes Against Children, because they have an expertise in this arena, providing all type of information to the community, safeguard measures, and we're accustomed through ICAC with dealing with sexual predators. This is what they do. This is their expertise. Our public corruption unit are the experts in terms of internal examination, investigations, but why not tap into the best resource we have, which is our own? And so our ICAC group were part of the investigation, and in this case, pretending to be a minor and having these communications back and forth. So that's their involvement.
So they did this after they heard he was doing something in person with a different minor?
So real quick, it's a little confusing, but so the girl's father somehow found out about this, and then called the police and tipped them off. So then the police and their ICAC, which is Internet Crimes Against Children Unit, then took that girl's phone and started texting back with the officer, and he was still thinking that it was the child that he was texting with. He didn't know that Internal Affairs basically had her phone now, thanks to this protective, responsible parent that is monitoring his 17-year-old daughter's phone, or however he found out, right? But some parents don't care, or wouldn't even have checked, So, Dad, if you see this, great job.
With the same minor. So we'll backtrack. Go out to domestic violence call. Deputy arrives there back in September. Have communications with the young girl there, 17 years of age. At some point, exchange phone numbers.
And real quick, if anybody is thinking, oh, he's 35, the girl's 17, she's almost 18. If you're thinking that's okay, then please just unsubscribe from me immediately, because I think there's something wrong with you. Okay? The law is 18 for a reason. 17 is just too young, especially when you're 35. I'm not even 35, and I wouldn't go near an 18-year-old, which is legal, let alone a 17-year-old. That would even cross my mind, right? So I just can't believe how some people that this age are these full-grown adults can just throw their lives away like that. Just for what, right? For what? Get a girl your own age. You know what I mean?
Have their text messages going back and forth. And throughout that texting and communicating, there had been strategic efforts to plan and meet with the minor, sexual communications, pictures being sent while on duty, exposing his penis and things of that nature.
Exposing his penis while on duty. I mean, come on. Right? He's trying to show her, oh, look at me, I can do whatever I want. Oh, I'm a police officer. I can even do this while I'm on duty, right? Well, Jemiah, you're looking like a clown now, aren't you, bud? And I hope you see this while you're sitting in jail, because you're going to be there a long time, bud.
So that really was part of ICAC's involvement, to be able to have that expertise, allow this dialogue to continue so we can have legitimate criminal charges that go beyond just administrative concerns. I'm going to go back to what I said. It's not just about administrative compliance here. We're talking about criminal behavior of the worst kind. As a law enforcement officer, there's two things I can't stand the most. One, anyone who's willing to run inside of a church, a school, and conduct a mass shooting and kill innocent, unarmed people. It's the most cowardice behavior I can imagine. The second, sexual predators. Those going out there trying to victimize our kids, because they're capitalizing on the immaturity, the lack of understanding. And if you're going to do that to a child, what else did we miss, or what else are you willing to do? And so when we got this thing going in terms of internal affairs, we went all in.
It's exactly what I was saying at the beginning of this video. They're cowards. Cowards.
It's a combination of it. I think one of the things we've seen, and very good job from our public corrections unit and ICAC, was at some point we wanted to make sure that we took the minor out of this and not expose them unnecessarily to potentially getting hurt, harmed, or injured, or any other psychological damages that may come with that type of communication when you're a minor. So it's better suited to have our investigators take the lead, handle the communications, etc., just like you would see To Catch a Predator on other different shows. Very similar background in terms of they maintain the communication, they collected the evidence, and then they submitted that in one packet with a public corruptions unit.
I think that was a great idea too, because that way they're not just taking anybody's word for it either, right? They're getting facts, they're getting hard evidence, and you know they're not taking one side or the other, right? They're just getting the phone, they're going off this tip, and then they went and saw what the truth actually was, right? That's why I don't have to say alleged, because they know, It's just he hasn't been officially, judged yet, or because it just happened, right? But we know that he did do this, okay? It's almost the same thing. Never mind.
Any indication within your investigation that this may not have been the first time?
Well, real quick, it's almost the same thing with some people that have been arrested, right? Obviously, everybody is innocent until you're proven guilty, and until the judge bangs that gavel and says guilty, right? But you can still have opinions, and people can still know in their minds if they've, if there's enough evidence out there already that the person committed this crime, right? I mean, technically, they're still innocent because the court date just hasn't got there yet. But we all know that they're guilty, right? So, some people, like with this Idaho case, I believe Kohberger is guilty, right? And then I get some people saying, innocent, he's innocent until proven guilty. Yes, of course, I understand that. But I'm just saying, using this as an example, like in my opinion, I think the evidence that I've seen, I think Kohberger is guilty. I can say that, okay? It's my opinion. That's just what I mean.
We haven't seen any indicators that there may have been other kids involved, but I can tell you this will be his last time. There's no coming back from this.
That's it. No coming back from this. And once again, this sheriff's name, first time I've seen him, Gregory Tony. That's what I wanted to show you guys. I know this video is getting long, but yeah, great job by the Broward County Sheriff's Department, and I'm glad they locked this sexual predator up. I hope he gets the maximum sentence, which I'm sure he will. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and remember, next week I'm going to start posting my videos on Patreon first, so my members get to see them. And some of the videos are only going to be on Patreon for my members. So become part of the family. Go to patreon.com/realtruecrimeking. Help support me make more videos. Helps become part of the family. We got some great members. They're great people, and you know who you are. So until next time, guys, True Crime King out.